Hello, everyone, and I want to say first off, hello to Matthew Barber.
Oh, hello, hi, hello. Nice to.
And Rich, where are you at the moment?
Dzień dobry, I believe.
Seamless.
yeah.
Nailed it.
Poland. Polish hello.
It's not like you and Barbara were practicing before we
Dzień
started.
dobry. Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry.
What was that you said? I'm going to have to listen back to
Dzień
that one.
dover. Dzień dover. Dzień dover to you, my friends. Dzień dover.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's
All
name,
the Polish
just name a
listeners.
spirit and your favourite English coastal town. Vodka Weymouth.
Yeah.
Dzień dover.
Put it this way, everyone in Poland will know what I said.
Well, rum Eastbourne to you, my friend. What are we doing? We were talking about something. Should we drink some beer?
Oh, we did a podcast.
Yes, that's right. So this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast, we are going to Stockport, which is not a seaside town. And as far as I'm aware, there's not a new spirit or distillery that's opened up in that neck of the woods.
Port, you're getting close.
But we are travelling to one of the oldest independently owned family breweries in the UK, Robinsons, because, and we did tease this in a previous episode, I can't remember, quite a while ago, that they have made a 10th anniversary limited edition beer in collaboration with the heavy metal band Iron Maiden. And we have got that to review on this episode. I thank you.
Can I just maybe ask a stupid question? Do they also make the squash?
do
they do the squash?
That's got to be a different Robinsons.
Do they do the squash? Robinson's squash?
I thought it was Robinson's fruit squash.
Right.
I tell you what. Why doesn't we swing to Barber for the hot topic, and I will Google if they are the same company?
No. I expect you to engage fully with my hot topic. Yeah. I don't want you Googling things in the background.
because if not, Robinsons isn't the most heavy metal thing in the world.
Sponsors Wimbledon and Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Just chugging pints of squash when they're...
With their new innovation, the Squeeze-It, where you put a little bit...
I just don't see them downing that on stage.
Oh, can you imagine that for beer, though? You just got a glass of water, you do a little squeeze of a little pouch into it, and it turns into beer. I'll tell you what, I'm patenting that one.
Robinson's the drink, the squash, is owned by Britvic, so it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not a small family-run Stockport brewery.
Yeah. I'm a little bit annoyed, but
look, just share the name.
I'll jump in and rescue this shower with a hot topic, shall I? And actually, I mean, as hot topics go, there's not much to really tell you about here. It's more of a have you seen. Anyone been on the Independent website recently and seen the jet of beer knocking a man over? No, just me.
I haven't done it.
We'll send it round. Listeners, worth a look. There isn't a lot of detail behind it, if we're being completely frank. It's in Minnesota, in the US. Back Channel Brewing. I tell you what. That's, even if we're not getting, some good listener minutage out of the hot topic, maybe we take it away as a brewery that we will have a look at later on. Back Channel Brewing Co. in Minnesota.
Well, I'm not too sure I want to try the beer if they're that poor at manner.
That man has basically had a shower in it.
Yeah.
I saw the video that you sent around. This guy got knocked off his feet. That was an impressively powerful jet.
Yeah.
Of
fire hose power.
This happened in late January, I believe, 23rd. And yeah, there's a bloke quite innocently having a bit of a tinker around with his
nozzles.
Nozzles, yeah. his equipment. It sounded a bit weird.
This made it weirder.
Yeah. Back Channel Brewing have made a New England IPA, and they've now named it Blowback. And it's also, I mean, it's quite a smart way of announcing that, this beer is in limited supply. And it's like, because about 15 litres of it knocked a bloke flying onto his feet. Fair play to him, though. He gets up really quickly and, it was enough to knock him over. And tries to sort it out.
You can guarantee he's not living that down anytime soon.
Yeah.
Well, he's inspired this whole thing, but I think the video's gone viral, hasn't it?
Yeah.
How many views?
Nearly 2 million, 1.8 million.
Nearly 2 million views.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not going to help pick up their sales, I don't know what will. That's
a load of people looking at Back Channel Brewing that would never have crossed them.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have been mentioned here before.
Careful, we're going to get our tinfoil hats on now and be like, well, he was just having a tinker with it. Why did it just
suddenly explode?
I
don't think, if it was a viral marketing ploy, I think that's putting someone at some serious danger. And I would say that the health and safety regulations would not allow it.
And I don't agree with that to the workplace.
I like to think they had one of those boards which had days without accidents, something like 720, and then some bloke had to walk up to it, just clean it off, and just put
0.
Yeah, and then everyone in the brewery turns to Dave.
Yeah,
Dave.
So what is it? It's called Backdraft Brewery or something. What's it called?
Sorry, Back Channel Brewing, but they are calling this beer, this New England IPA, Blowback.
Blowback. Oh.
Yeah, I like that.
But actually, I'm realising, looking at the video again, actually, it's good. He's not actually seriously hurt, this chap. But it gets him almost in the solar plexus, at his centre of gravity. It gets him right in the key area to go flying.
He's gonna be bruised.
Yeah, you'd have thought. Yeah, but sorry everyone, not much more news to it than that, but there's an interesting video out there of a man getting knocked over by beer, so you don't have the guilt as well, knowing that he's okay, so it's worth a look.
I suppose we should probably talk about Robinsons Squash.
So we're talking about Robinsons Brewery.
It's funny, so this is an anniversary beer, right? Because I think
it's their 10th anniversary beer, but I have no idea because they've been going around for 185 years, I think they're touting now. So why is it a 10th anniversary?
Is it? Well, this was my question. Is it the 10th anniversary of the Trooper beer that this is? And because I feel like I saw this label a long time ago and saw it quite a lot. I think it was really popular because it was this somehow in conjunction with Iron Maiden. And I think maybe they brought it back because they did it presumably 10 years ago. And they were like, yeah, all right, we'll have another bash at that. We need to get in touch and ask them. It's a very snazzy little design, though, isn't it?
It's very cool, isn't it? And it's very Iron Maiden-esque. It's like a zombie trooper running through with a big Union Jack in the back.
Well, he's across a lot of their vinyl art, or a lot of their art and everything like that. I have no clue who he is or what he does, because I'll say it now. I'm not really an Iron Maiden fan.
It was not that I'm not a fan, I just don't really know anything about Iron Maiden. I wouldn't really know until Barbara starts singing some of their songs, which I know he's got stored in his locker. I actually feel like I don't really know too much about Iron Maiden.
I think The Trooper was a song by Iron Maiden. 1980s. 1980. They are 1980s. I'm sat in front of a fact-checking machine, so I'll hang on. 1983. I actually don't know much Iron Maiden. There's one absolute banger in my opinion. On the back of this, I'm going to go and listen to some Iron Maiden as well. There's one absolute banger called Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which is about 13 minutes long, which I really recommend. But yeah, I appreciate. I've leapt to a conclusion. I'm guessing Iron Maiden might be from Stockport, or
I think you're
the
right.
Cheshire neck of the woods.
Yeah, it could be.
Am I right or am I right? Am I right or am I right?
It must be the same thing. I think actually they must have some sort of close connection to this Robinsons Brewery, because there's no way that they would sign off the rights to make these Iron Maiden like beers unless there was like a real link with Robinsons, right? So what I've done is I'm going to give you some facts about Iron Maiden to try and test our knowledge, but more so, I think, as we're probably finding, actually get ourselves. Go on, Bob.
Sorry, I thought it was a fascinating bit of trivia, but it's the wrong band. I was about to go, is it Iron Maiden who had a drummer with one arm? And actually, that's Def Leppard.
No.
Def Leppard have got, yeah. So there we go.
Could I just quickly point out, this isn't the only Iron Maiden beer.
Maybe that's what I was getting mixed up with that.
It's a whole series done by Robinson of Iron Maiden beers.
But then does this go back to what Barbara was saying, which makes this the 10th version of an Iron Maiden beer that Robinsons have made?
Iron Maiden beer has its own website, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just looking on it now. Yeah, because they've got Trooper, they've got 666, Red and Black, Light Brigade,
Fear of the Dark,
Hallowed, Sun and Steel, and Trooper IPA, and Fear of the Dark, and a Brazil IPA, and a Australia XPA, a Hellcat, a Running Free. They've got a non-alcoholic, a Swedish lager. They've got a whole array. A progressive lager. What's a progressive lager?
It's one that has really
understands pronouns.
Yeah. Got that out of me. So actually, we weren't far off with the 10th anniversary Trooper is that they are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Trooper, and I think Trooper, the premium British bitter, was the first of these beers.
Yes, that's what I'm taking from it.
So I was going to give some facts about Iron Maiden. Sorry, before we go deep into it. Bruce Dickinson, which is one of the founding band members, as you say, is apparently a qualified pilot and actually flies their tour plane, which is dubbed Ed Force One, which is a Boeing 747, a two-decker jumbo jet.
How many members of the band are there? They're like 59.
I'm going to send you a photo of this, chaps. You're going to be absolutely enthralled by this. This is like an actual jumbo jet with like decked out with Iron Maiden, and the tail fin is like an Iron Maiden, like it's a skull with this. Oh, it's amazing.
Can I just say something? I feel quite sorry for what was his name?
Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson. I can imagine Iron Maiden go pretty hard on stage, rocking out sort of thing, playing to big venues and everything. And then, at the end of it, they go, right then, Dick, on you get, sort of thing. You've got to fly the Boeing 747.
They didn't call him Dick, they call him Bruce, because his name's Bruce. I was about to go, we don't call you Drabs or me Barbs. Oh, wait, no.
But, yeah. I'd just be a bit miffed if that was my only role. Yeah, the only reason he's in the band because he knows how to fly the plane.
Yeah, exactly. He's dreadful on the recorder, honestly. Yeah. we only keep him in the band because he can fly.
Yeah.
He offered to play the bongos last week. We weren't having any of that. I said, you just stick to the recorder, Bruce, and you can fly the plane.
Yeah.
Drabbers, where did you start us off? Where did you say hello from today?
Oh, Poland.
So Iron Maiden once crashed a wedding in Poland. After a few drinks, they got up on stage and performed an impromptu gig. So, gone back to full circle of where you are right now.
Hang on, that was a different episode what we're talking about.
Did the wedding party want Iron Maiden to play it there?
I think if you kind of just have Iron Maiden at your wedding, it might be inevitable.
Yeah, if Iron Maiden were
happens.
there, yeah. I mean, if you weren't into Sade, as she turned up at your wedding, you'd have her perform, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd just be a little bit miffed. It's if you're not into heavy metal or that kind of music.
But you'd make an exception for Iron Maiden, wouldn't you? Even at your wedding to be like this world's like they're so well known. I mean, personally, I don't know that much about them.
I'm going to turn that into a different question now. Who's the most famous musician that could turn up that you wouldn't just somehow weirdly turned up to your wedding that you would say, no, I am not having you perform?
Takeshi 69.
Who's that?
Like,
I
he's
said
the bloke
most
with all the
famous.
tattoos. He's got all the dreads and the tattoos across his face, and he
Oh,
does all
God.
that real rubbish rap.
I think you've made that person up.
No, he's not. I'm going to show you. Like, you wouldn't want
do you know who I do not want, would never want? Yoko Ono to come up. Because she'd just go, ah, ah.
I don't know why. The whole premise of this question is it's like the idea is someone turns up that you're not expecting at your wedding. For some reason, I think Yoko Ono is like really unlikely to turn up to you. For some reason, I was going to say I would actually be very happy for him to perform, but like Elton John was the sort of person who came up in my mind as being really famous. I think.
Yeah, but
I
you'd
think
want
Joe,
him to perform, though, wouldn't you?
Yes, and I think
You'd want Elton John to perform if he was up for it. You'd be like, absolutely. Elton.
As a weird side note, I think Elton John is more likely to turn up at one of our weddings than Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
When one of you is planning a wedding, I might just shoot her a text.
Yeah. Just if you just take a look in the chat, you'll see why you wouldn't want this bloke turning up.
Okay.
Hang on, I've only got one from Joe. Might need to.
Wasn't he in jail?
Yeah, he was in jail for snitching.
Yeah,
and snitches get
Travis
stitches.
has just sent me a direct message. But you can,
Oh, sorry. Just don't bother to see this.
It's all the other messages where he's talking behind your back.
Yes.
If there's ever a suggestion I wasn't wanted on the podcast, I think that was it.
So this is what I like. This guy 6'9", who's tattooed over his face. His real name is Daniel Hernandez. It's like your real name's like you're not that cool rapper. You're just like a anyway.
Oh, 6'9". I think I have heard of him. To be fair,
Yeah.
What did you call him
Like,
first? I thought you called him something else.
Takeshi 69, isn't he?
I don't know, mate.
Where did you get the Takeshi's bit? Because when you said Takeshi, I was thinking Takeshi's Castle.
Like, if that was at my wedding,
Count
that'd be
Takeshi
amazing.
could perform at my wedding.
yeah, I get. Yeah,
That bloke is 5 years younger than me, and presumably each of us here. And you just know he's got a lot more money.
yeah.
Oh, so much more money. But he's also been in jail, which is quite.
Swings
he
and
also
roundabouts. Then.
snitched. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, as you said, yeah. I feel like we're getting away from Trooper beer.
Shall we get back to Robinsons?
Yeah.
We'll go back to the beer itself.
I like the beer. I was expecting for a premium bitter, so I'm holding up the glass here. It's quite light in colour for a bitter. I was expecting a slightly more nut brown ale, and this is a little bit more amber. It's very malty, and it has got those. It's becoming an old trope for me. Is talk about that fruitcake type beer. That like, a little bit like Saurine, but in beer form. It has got those sorts of flavours, but it surprises me that it is of a lighter colour. I've actually slightly over-chilled mine. This has been in the fridge for too long. I think it probably needs to come up a couple of degrees for me to really, really enjoy it. But it's exactly the sort of beer that I quite enjoy. I don't know how you guys are getting on with it. Hard luck, Robinsons. Tough crowd.
I'm going to sit back and listen to Travis's.
It's not horrific. I'm not
not horrific.
Massive. Yeah. I'm just as we know,
it's not your bag, is it? It's my bag. It's not yours.
It's not mine. It's just I'm excited about some of the other beers Robinsons had up, sort of thing. Some of their other stuff looks absolutely fantastic, like Neon Sunset.
What's that?
Okay.
So they've got a selection of beers called Unicorn Brewing, which is under the Robinsons banner, and they've got Euphoria Hop. They've got like some Pilsners and some Citric Pale, or some of their other stuff looks absolutely fantastic. This just isn't my cup of tea. So I'm not writing Robinsons off as a brewery, and I'm not even writing the rest of the line of the Iron Maiden beers off, because some of those look great. I'm just not a bitter fan. Premium British beer.
I'm really enjoying this, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it because I thought it'd be like quite dark, it'd be a bit heavy or something, especially. But I'm actually really, it's going down really smoothly, and I think it's going to the point where like. Robinsons know how to make a beer. This is the 10th anniversary of their Iron Maiden specific beers, which is Trooper, because it has been 10 years. I looked it up. They started making these Trooper and like beers with Iron Maiden since 2013. So this is their 2023 version. So it would be 10 years. And it's delicious. It's really going down. Yeah, it's a good point to question. It's going down really well. It's not your average beer. I don't think it's like I'm like Timothy Taylor Landlord springs to mind because of historic.
Whoa.
And it's a bit of a divisive thing. Literally the other day, we're chatting with some people. We're talking about beer, and someone brought up Timothy Taylor Landlord as a beer that was a divisive issue, and I'm just like, don't even get us started on Timothy Taylor Landlord. It's going to go there. But
I can't understand why that's a divisive issue.
But why I bring it up is because it's from a historic family brewery, and it's a specific style of beer. And I get where you're coming from, Trubs. Well, you want something more, right? You want something different.
Yeah. One something different. I'm just, it's not for me.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it nonetheless. You know, maybe they could have done something fancy with it. It could have been double dry hopped beer, you know, but it wasn't going to be. It was going to be something that was like, and is what fascinates me is the fact that Iron Maiden have a link with this brewery and are like, that's the beer. Keep making that beer year on year and putting our name on it. That's fascinating to me. So
the song Trooper, as I've now found out, was based... the song was inspired by the Charge of the Light Brigade, right?
Yes.
1854. Battle of... Any guesses? It's...
Zulus.
Think about something you put... No. Something you put over your head.
Hat.
Balaclavas?
Yes, the Battle of Balaclava and the Crimean War.
Crimea.
Sorry, yes.
Ukraine. Not Russia.
Yes, sorry. I get caught between... Oh, it really messed me up. And I don't know, maybe the suggestion is that maybe because Bruce Dickinson actually had a say in the beer that was produced here, so we can't just fly planes. He knows about brewing beer as well, Joe. Sorry, and so he might have argued that this was something that maybe the Light Brigade, who bravely, I think they charged down a load of Russians, and there's only about like 500.
They did. They charged the cannons. It's an absolute faux pas. So basically, the story goes that. The Russian guns were shooting and absolutely pummeling the British lines, and the commanders on top of the hill on the British side were seeing this happen, and they sent word down to the Light Brigade, which is a light horse cavalry brigade, to say, go and charge the guns. But basically what happened is that the Light Brigade didn't see that there was like this big maneuver they could do. They just went charged headlong into the guns themselves and got absolutely torn to pieces, and most of them died. And the story goes is basically because the commanders could see one thing, they gave one kind of line of communication, and the Light Brigade just followed that order, that they could have been spared if they'd have actually given a clearer command. They'd have, they didn't see what the Light Brigade on the ground didn't see what the commanders on top of the hill could see, basically, and ran into some Russian guns, and got absolutely obliterated.
But also, it took a fair bit of stones to do it, because they presumably could see it as like, yeah, this ain't going to go well, but we've been told we've got to do this. So
from the ground, saw it was a suicide mission, and were just like, but I've been given this command, so I'm going to do it. So that's why in England it's kind of seen as quite a big, a pinnacle story, because it's this whole stiff upper lip, Britishness that kind of gets caught up into it, rah rah rah, fighting the good fight against the Russians in Crimea to save all these people, and it just kind of is given this kind of glamour, I suppose. But at the end of the day, a load of people died who probably didn't need to die. That's
pretty much World War One in a nutshell, isn't it, as well?
That's the 10 o'clock hour podcast.
Yeah. I'll try that after hours where we do military strategy. Good. Well,
just play Risk.
Yeah. Well, I like it. Drambers, you're not so mad.
You're not a fan.
No, but I want to try their other stuff.
Fair play.
What's amazing as well is that the 6th generation of Robinsons are now involved in the brewery. I think that's amazing. In fact, this brewery's been going, and the 6th generation of family members have been on this. It's incredible. Also, this website, the Robinsons website, if you want to get into brewing / owning a pub, it's not even brewing, if you want to own a pub, they literally have a part of their website dedicated to vacancies within their pubs, and you can go take it over. So you can go and buy the Outgate Inn in Ambleside. This is a hidden gem nestled in Ambleside. FMT turnover, Barbara. What's your kind of like business studies kind of course taking an FMT?
FMT turnover.
FMT is fair maintainable turnover is an estimation of the trade that a reasonably efficient operator, REO, would be reasonably expected to achieve. Okay. So you are expected for this Ambleside Outgate Inn to turn over £464,000. An annual rent from Robinsons is £25,000, and you need some level of investment, which is £19,000. So given the annual rent and this investment, they're basically saying you could be like making almost £500,000 every year from this pub.
Blimey.
So anyway, I find this fascinating. The fact that they've got this, because this is like just shopping, isn't it? It's like house price. You go on Zoopla and you go and have a little look around, but it's shopping for pubs, which is fascinating. But the fact that you're getting some sort of like, understanding about, manageable rent and turnover and stuff, I just find that fascinating. Anyway, I might have a quick look at this. Oh, the Wheatsheaf Inn and Brigsteer, 700,000 they're expected to bring in every year. Wow.
That's impressive.
It's interesting. I've never seen something like this before. It's really like, they're like selling you a pub, aren't they?
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll open a pub.
Well, or buy one of these pubs. It also seems, I don't know, this seems a bit like, Max, like, do you just need to have the investment money to be able to own this pub? Like, could we say, okay, we can scrape together the 21,000 to buy this Wheatsheaf Inn, and then we are expected to bring in 700,000, but then obviously of that, 42,000 is meant to be rent to Robinsons. But obviously this doesn't take into consideration the labour costs involved with hiring staff. It doesn't take into consideration the purchasing of the product itself, the beer, which is obviously, as Robinsons pub, they're going to be expecting you to buy their beers, right? So Drabs, I'm afraid you're going to have to learn to like the Robinsons beers. You can't be like, no, that's it, we're going crafty, that's all we're going to have, because the locals will be like, hang on, what are you doing?
Yeah, but I only want to attract hipsters in checked shirts.
I thought it was just a rumour. Then this is probably the one for you then, to be honest, mate. Why don't you go and see see if you can get any... Oh, it would have been a lot better if I had one, like, primed and ready to go. Who the...
Tiny Rebel.
Tiny Rebel, that's who I was trying to think of. Yeah, I mean, if they've got... But you
don't really like that beer either, thinking about it.
Remind me, what is it you do like?
Squash. But apparently it's...
Robinson's Fruit Squash Pub.
So Robinsons Brewery on Instagram have 10.1k followers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And on Twitter, on TikTok, making its first ever mention on this podcast, they have 640 followers, but 19.5k likes.
Is that good?
Yeah. Is that good?
This might be the first and last time I mentioned TikTok on this podcast.
I've never had TikTok.
You seen that thing about, hey, have you seen my TikTok? It's like, it's called a watch. How old are you? I heard it's like a front for spying.
That we can't get into that.
We can shoehorn that into the military strategy podcast, but not the beer one.
You've got to wait 20 minutes and then we can start talking about that.
Nearly there.
So, who wants to have the last words on Robinsons Trooper 10th anniversary beer?
I would be, it's a good start. I say a good start for me because I haven't had any of the other Trooper beers. A nod to what Rich was saying, I would be keen to try the others, but this is a pretty solid bitter. Yeah, bitter.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich,
Barber,
and Simo.
Goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.